25th, 2018. We're here in Los Angeles at the MA actual museum itself. Today's guest is Eden Page, a touring Northwest artist who has just performed successfully at the Whiskey A Go-Go, legendary, and also the legendary Vampire Lounge. This tour will continue through New York, which she'll tell us about soon. So can you please tell us something about your past, like where you're from?
Sure. I'm born and raised from the Pacific Northwest. Kind of grew up all through Washington State and have spent a lot of time out there. Also kind of grew up visiting Los Angeles a lot. A lot of my family lives out here, and yeah, so spent a lot of summers out here. And yeah, I currently live just outside of Seattle in a really beautiful place, kind of tucked away in the woods.
And when did you begin your art? When did you start with art?
I guess I've always been making art. Basically since I could pick up a pencil, I was drawing pictures on paper towels and writing poems with my grandma on my grandma's computer, and yeah, just always making music in one way or another. I remember my favorite thing to do when I was really, really little, living in Eastern Washington, was my dad had this big drawer full of pots and pans, and I would pull out the drawer, and it was like so exciting. I'd pull out all these different pots and set them all up around me with spoons, and I was convinced that I was going to make beautiful music by banging on them, and it never quite sounded like what I wanted at age 4, and I was always surprised by that, but yeah, I just always kind of had the drive.
So you said other forms of art. You had mentioned drawing. When did you start writing and recording your first song, for example?
Well, I've always drawn as well, always done visual arts and music. But I first started doing recordings. My first recording I did when I was 7. Well, actually, I guess the truth is that I used to record a lot on tape, and I had this little room under the stairs in my living room. It was like a secret little room with insulation, not isolation. I wish, but it was a cool little room, and my dad helped me kind of just make it my little recording zone, and so I'd set up with a bunch of little tape recorders and overdub myself trying to do harmonies and doubling and just experimenting and seeing what that sounded like, and also doing pretend radio shows. So yeah, but then my first time in a studio, I was 7, and I wrote a song called Enough Is Enough, which was produced in part with the in-house producer, who was also the engineer, and so he did the synthesizer for me, and I kind of
Can you sing some of it?
Not today, but
okay. Do you remember some of the lyrics? Can you recite them?
It was kind of funny for a 7-year-old, but it was the idea was, hey, enough is enough, too much is too much, I am off limits, don't touch.
How apropos for a little girl. Very good. Thank you for sharing that with us. What current projects are you working on now? I know that you've just finished your Swords album. You're still working on some of the videos from that. They're not released. I know you have Bound. I know that you've got some of your earlier work is available on YouTube.
So basically, I'm also a filmmaker. I have a lot of film work that I've been working on for the last 5 years or so. I started out just kind of not really knowing what I was doing, and just luckily having a lot of support in my area, and I work with an art collective called Off the Wall Artist Collective. And
aren't you the founder of that?
I am one of which, and so through that group, it's just been amazing. I've had a lot of amazing mentors to teach me about filmmaking, and yeah, it's just been a group effort to really figure that out, and it's become a complete passion of mine. So yeah, so I have a lot of music videos coming out. I'm about to start my own production company, just for making the art that we want to make, called Bioluminescent Films.
Bioluminescent?
Yeah, Bioluminescent Films.
What does that mean?
Bioluminescent means the light of life, essentially, is what it translates to. But bioluminescence is something that happens in nature when, like for instance, where I live, we have Noctiluca phytoplankton, which is the plankton that lives in our waters. And during the summer and some parts of the year, when disturbed, it illuminates. And so it's a living organism that lights up. And the reason we named our company that is because it's kind of the closest thing that I see to a direct explanation of magic and science and how they kind of come together, and how magic is not made any less so by the fact that there is a name attached to it. That we know it's a plankton, we know why this happens, but it still doesn't feel any less magical when you're experiencing it. So I kind of see film in that same regard, where it is a science, and it definitely is something that takes a lot of time and skill and cultivation, but there's a magic that just can exist if you let it flow out of you.
Photography, how does that picture in your life?
Photography is a huge part of my life. I think I've always been interested in making films. When I was younger, my dad kind of set me up with a video camera, but aside from that, the still image was always fascinating to me. And I think that all these things kind of play in together. I'm currently studying film photography at Evergreen, and I'm just totally enamored and in love with it. I just find something really magical about capturing one moment and being able to tell a whole story with just one image, much like painting. And as I am kind of progressing, I'm realizing that art is a language, and it doesn't really matter which medium you're using at any given time. Like, the science of each medium definitely takes time to cultivate and understand and get better at, but the art itself just has its own voice, and it's kind of a spirit, and it comes through whatever you pick up, as long as you keep it alive and fed and well.
That brings up another issue, keeping your art alive and fed and all that. Now, your life sounds extremely full, and it sounds like you're immersed in art completely. Is that a correct?
Yeah.
Do you live in a studio? Is that your studio? You live in Bard Rock Studio?
I do.
You live in a recording studio?
I do. It's an in-home studio. I feel very fortunate for that. It's something that has kind of taken years to slowly work out how that we wanted to do that. My family had a recording studio in our home when I was in my late teen years, and when my mom moved to LA, I was fortunate enough to inherit the studio. And so my partner, Sean Sebastian, and I run the studio out of our home, and we offer affordable and peaceful recording environments for artists, especially with a focus on women, queer people, or people that might not have opportunities to record in other spaces. It's a huge part of our lives, and sometimes other parts like the art collective or filmmaking or music kind of take over for a while, and then we kind of come back to the studio, or vice versa. It's kind of a constant balancing act and juggling, but yeah.
Yes, I've been to your studio and your home, and it's just beautiful on the water, and it's like a museum. Where did you acquire all of these art pieces? And there's so much in your home. It's amazing.
A combination of things. My partner Sean, his family collects antiques, and so like we have a 1700s armoire in our living room for our studio, and it's kind of the like facet of our studio that kind of sets it apart. There's a lot of just like 1800s furniture and just like bizarre old things. My family also has lots of art and furniture that's been passed on to us too. So we're kind of just weirdo collectors that have a lot of weird stuff. And yeah, we're just both drawn to the beauty in things that are old and the history in physical belongings.
You know, it's really interesting because you and your partner Sean provide so many wonderful art venues and platforms and vehicles for your friends to use that are other artists. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing that you're doing. Can you tell us about, I know Joanna Warren, because we here at MA are fans of hers, and there's some of the other people that your studio has produced and help promote. Can you tell us who they are? Your
Sure.
the recording artists.
Sure. Yeah, we've had quite a few people come through. We're about to release a video with Anna Gordon, who is an Olympia artist, and she's incredible, totally moving performer.
We love her, yes.
Yeah, Johanna Warren is just a good friend of ours at this point, and just someone that really spoke to us from an early time. We just really wanted to have the opportunity to work with and promote as much as we could. Also, I mean, back when we recorded acts like Doormats, Dumpster Baby, Biopan Duo, who scored the film Bound, Rowan Lanning, who now is known as Rowan Rain, who's a good friend of mine, and all of their work is incredible. Also, Irene Bowen has produced 2 albums through us, and hopefully more to come. Yeah, a lot of female or queer focused artists has been a huge focus for us. It didn't even necessarily start out that way. It just was the people that were drawn to our space, and once they realized that it was a place that they felt safe and just free to kind of express, it was really great. And it just made us realize that that was kind of one of our purposes that we wanted to keep alive. Yeah, and many more. There's so many wonderful people.
I wanted to ask you about one artist in particular, because Ma will be promoting this artist as well. Logan, your Ezra and Irene videos were magnificent. Can you tell us about Logan?
Ezra. So Ezra Demi-Monde is one of my best friends in the world, and has been an incredible collaborator with me. We've made films together. We were working on some music together. Basically everything that I'm doing at this point creatively, somehow Ezra is involved behind the scenes. And I just have so much love for both Ezra and Irene.
You've got the video, right?
Irene also starred in my debut directorial film, Instant, which is coming out this summer. And I mean, she is just such a powerhouse. It's just incredible. Working with her was such a dream. And the music that they're making it's just incredible.
Where can they see some of their videos?
The future, if you ask me.
Yes, I think so too.
They've released 2 videos on YouTube, and there are more to come, and their album should be coming this year. So
there's an album pending right now with Ezra. Can you tell us something about it?
Yeah, the Ezra and Irene album Revel is coming out, to be announced soon.
Very good.
I'm very excited to see just the response to that album. I've been able to kind of, from a distance, view the production process and their steps in taking it to the next level with this album, and I'm just so excited for everyone to hear it. So
yes, absolutely. Well, we love Ezra and Irene. Just amazing music, amazing presence on film, as you know. I'm really excited. You have one of your music videos from Swords. It's your theme song. That's you're just about finished with the editing process. Is that correct?
Yeah. As soon as I get back from tour from New York, I'll be releasing the title track video for Swords, which is kind of a big deal for me. It features a lot of important people in my life, and it was a very much a work of love, and Awful Artist Collective really came together and came through to make it happen. Ezra Demi-Monde co-produced it with me and co-directed, and my partner Sean was also hugely instrumental in making it happen, and my dear friend Xenia Packer-Kozicki was the cinematographer and director of photography.
Beautiful
and
job.
She's just...
I've had the pleasure of seeing it before it's finished, and I love it. An all-time excellent, excellent video. Can we take off from where we just ended? We were talking about your partner, and not only is it a partner in business and in the arts, Sean Sebastian I'm speaking of, but he is also a collaborator. What is that like when your life is uprooted and you tour and you leave your partner behind? How do you survive that? That's pretty rough.
It has been challenging. Sean and I do pretty much everything together. Hello. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience because it's kind of an opportunity for each of us to go work on our own independent projects separated from each other, where normally we're working on each other's projects constantly, and primarily Sean is an angel and works on my projects a lot. And he's a little bit more independent with his, but yeah, I mean, working together and having a relationship is really interesting and sometimes very complex, because regular everyday things that other couples deal with, we deal with that too, but then simultaneously we have deadlines and we have, you know, just like creative differences sometimes where it's like we have to work through something and realize that it's not personal, it's just that we're both really creative people and have our own ideas about things.
What is he doing? I know he's been a part of your life for almost a third of your life, actually. So what is he doing now? He's a brilliant man, and I've had the pleasure of meeting him.
Yeah, so Sean has his own solo project called The Dregs, which is kind of under wraps right now, but hopefully very soon will be out in the public eye.
The Dregs.
The Dregs. That's his his solo music project.
I like the title.
He's also working in a band currently, and he's a recording engineer at Bard Rock, and yeah, and just also a filmmaker and a photographer, and basically all the things that I do aside from like some of the visual arts. And then he's just doing it all as well. There are just so many things I can't even tell you, where it's like when it comes to technological things or lenses with cameras or whatever, where I just have a lot more of the creative mindset and brain, and he has a lot more of the technical side, so I think we balance each other really well, not just personality wise but also creatively for those reasons.
What do you see as the future of Bard Rock, or just the future of Eden Page?
Well, we really hope to at some point soon get some kind of funding so that Bard Rock can really be the kind of philanthropic place that we want it to be. Right now we still have to charge like a basic minimum just for people recording, just so that we can keep our doors open. It would be so ideal if we could have grants and that kind of thing, so that we could just be actually getting artists coming through that we believe in, that don't necessarily have the funds or means to have their recordings done, and we could be going out and helping those people, because that's where our heart is and what we want to be doing, but we also have to feed ourselves and make sure that we can keep our doors open. So yeah, so that's probably hopefully the future for Bard Rock, and at least the immediate future. And for myself, for Eden Page, gosh, there's just a lot up in the air right now. I'm not entirely sure, honestly. My main prerogative is just getting the music out there and sharing it and being able to keep making it. And incorporating film frequently is definitely something that I feel really strong about, and I really want to make sure that yeah, that I have the time and means to keep making music videos, keep making films, keep making music, and making music with other people too. I have been considering working with, potentially working with some other people in the future as well as a part of my Eden Page project. So.
Well, thank you. We of Museum Americana are so glad that that you are our star and that we could help launch you, and we'll be doing more with you. And thank you so much for your interview. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And best of luck on your tour in New York. I know you're going to be sensational.
Thank you.
I loved your shows here.